I woke up one morning to find a bright orange paper flapping on my front door. Big block letters screamed, "Notice of Demolition." The HOA next door claimed my entire house was sitting 8 feet over their property line, and if I didn't move it, they'd tear it down within 72 hours. I stood there in my pajamas staring at it, coffee going cold in my hand, and thought, you've got to be kidding me. 8 feet. They wanted me to move a 2-bedroom house 8 feet or lose it. It started months earlier when I thought I'd finally rebuilt my life. After my divorce, I was 44 broke and pretty much done with people. I found a forgotten piece of land outside Boulder, 1.6 acres of overgrown brush and wildflowers, and built a small modern home with my own hands. I did everything right. County permits, licensed inspections, GPS surveys, double-checked by an old friend from my engineering days. No loans, no neighbors breathing down my neck, and best of all, no HOA. Those 3 words were music to my ears. For a while it was heaven. I'd sit on the deck with a beer watching the sunset burn through the cottonwoods, hearing nothing but the creek and the wind. To the north, maybe 200 feet away, was a picture-perfect subdivision called Canyon Woods Estates, rows of identical beige boxes ruled by a woman named Karen Marlowe. I barely noticed them until she noticed me. 2 months after moving in, I got the letter. Official letterhead fancy logo, her signature curling across the bottom like a threat dressed up as etiquette. Your structure encroaches 8 feet into HOA-managed property. Relocate within 30 days or face demolition and fines. I actually laughed out loud. Then I checked my coordinates, my survey pins, my permit maps. Everything lined up perfectly. I wasn't in their HOA. My title was clean certified straight from the county. I sent her a polite email with all the documents attached and wrote, "You're mistaken. Please remove me from your contact list." Silence. A week later, a red SUV stopped at the end of my driveway. Blonde bob, mirrored sunglasses, clipboard. Karen herself. She didn't step out or wave, just stood there staring like a cop waiting for backup. That night I found a plastic ribbon tied around a tree on my land that read, "Future HOA Border." That was when I realized this wasn't confusion. It was an invasion. I called a surveyor I trusted. Doug Pinner, old colleague, the kind of guy who carries a laser rangefinder like other men carry wallets. We remapped every inch. 2 days later he showed up grinning, holding a manila folder. "You're fine," he said. "Actually, you're 2.4 inches inside your boundary. But here's the comedy." He flipped the page. "Their fence garden and that Zen rock path, they brag about 6 feet 9 inches onto your land." I stared, then laughed. Then I swore. We took the evidence to the county. The clerk flipped through the file, nodded slowly, and said, "You're clean. Everything's airtight. And between you and me, Canyon Woods has pulled this stunt before, tried to redraw parcel lines using an unlicensed firm. Got caught. So it wasn't just me. But that didn't make me feel safer, because the next morning I found new flags staked along the edge of my yard, neon orange labeled preliminary construction. Someone had been there at 3 a.m. hammering them in. My security footage showed 2 people in hoodies sneaking through my property with flashlights. Later that day, 2 community code officers showed up, basically retired mall cops in uniforms that looked ordered off Amazon, snapping photos of my deck. When I filmed them back, one waved me inside. I waved with one finger. Then my neighbor Dennis showed up holding a flyer. "They're passing these around," he said. The headline read, "Non-compliant construction threatens community safety." Underneath a blurry photo of my house. That was the moment I stopped laughing. I printed out Doug's report, mailed certified copies to the HOA, and demanded they remove their fence from my land within 14 days. Their response: "Someone dumped a bag of dog crap on my porch, branded Canyon Woods monogram." I started sleeping less, checking cameras every few hours, wondering if maybe I'd misread something, if all this was somehow my fault. I mean, I was just one guy in the woods. Maybe my measurements were off. Maybe I'd been too stubborn. There was a night I sat in the dark with the lights off, staring at that stack of legal papers on my desk, thinking about signing whatever compliance form they wanted just to make it end. Then I remembered who I was. I'd mapped pipeline corridors through mountain terrain before GPS was even reliable. I'd built that house nail by nail, permit by permit. I wasn't the one lying. So when the fake demolition notice appeared on my door, bright orange stamped with a bogus Enforcement Division seal, I stopped being scared and started documenting everything. I scanned the QR codes on the notice. It led to a folder full of doctored drone photos and made-up jurisdictional maps. There was even a complaint about my grill, labeled unapproved propane fixture within HOA viewing radius. They'd created an entire alternate reality just to bully me. By noon that day, a flatbed truck rolled up carrying a bulldozer. 2 black SUVs followed decals reading Community Oversight. A man in sunglasses stepped out, clipboard in hand. "You've been formally noticed," he said. "The structure will be cleared unless you comply." I didn't say a word. I parked my Jeep sideways across the driveway, handbrake yanked, blocking the path. Then I called the Boulder County Sheriff. 15 minutes later, 2 deputies arrived, took one look, and groaned. HOA 1 asked. "Yeah," I said, "trying to demolish a house they don't own with fake paperwork." They couldn't do much, said it was a civil matter until someone actually started demolition, but I filmed everything. Drone overhead, GoPro on the porch, timestamps, coordinates, survey stakes, all of it. Then I emailed the entire packet to Judge Evelyn Romer, County Real Estate Division, marked urgent, fraudulent HOA demolition attempt in progress. Her office replied within half an hour. Temporary restraining order granted. I printed it, laminated it, and walked it right down the driveway. Handed a copy to the clipboard guy. "You move that bulldozer 1 inch, I told him, and you're going to jail." He blinked. Then he packed up. Deputies ordered everyone off my property. For the first time in weeks, I exhaled. But it wasn't over. In court, it all came out. Karen sat there in her navy suit pretending to be the picture of professionalism, while her lawyer submitted a shiny new survey proving my house crossed the line. My attorney, Reggie Maldonado, a bulldog of a man with zero patience for HOA nonsense, flipped open his tablet and said, "Your Honor, the individual who signed this report isn't licensed in Colorado or anywhere." The judge frowned. Reggie continued, "His real name is Juan Jason Mars, convicted in 2 states for real estate fraud. He stole a surveyor's stamp from a man currently in the hospital." The courtroom went dead silent. Karen's face turned gray. The judge tapped her pen. So she said slowly, the HOA submitted a forged document, authorized demolition, and ignored certified county data. Karen tried to speak. The judge cut her off. "You abused your authority, Ms. Marlowe. You nearly caused the illegal destruction of private property." That alone should have buried them, but it got worse. The judge ordered a county inspection of the HOA's own borders. When the results came back, they showed the HOA's fence garden picnic area, even their playground, were all sitting on my land and on Dennis's and a few other neighbors, too. At the next hearing, Reggie wheeled in a huge foam board map covered in red circles. If they want Mr. Lane to move his house 8 feet, he told the court, then they can start by moving their playground. 19. The judge leaned back, folded her hands, and said, "Fair is fair. If the HOA insists on enforcing boundaries, they can relocate their structures first." You could feel the air leave the room. Karen whispered something to her lawyer. He went pale. The judge granted a full cease and desist order against the HOA. From that point, everything collapsed for them. Board members resigned. Neighbors came forward with hidden recordings, Karen bragging that the county won't challenge us unless someone sues. Reporters picked it up. Then Karen tried to skip a deposition and flee the state. Federal marshals caught her at Denver International Airport under a fake name, sunglasses and all. She ended up facing 12 counts of fraud evidence tampering and attempted illegal demolition. When the judge read the sentence, 12 years in state prison, she didn't say a word, just stared at the floor. I didn't cheer. I didn't gloat. I just sat there breathing, feeling the weight finally slide off my chest. Weeks later, the county ordered the HOA to tear down their fence and community garden panel by panel, post by post. The beige world they'd built collapsed under its own arrogance. When the dust settled, I stood at my northern border watching the last of their trucks drive away. The air smelled like wet pine and justice. I installed a steel arch right there, bolted into the soil. 10 feet tall. On it, cut in bold letters, "Don't move my house. Move your boundaries." And that's the story. If there's one thing I learned, it's this paper: bullies only win when you stop fighting back.